Hey guys, this is Kerry Martell, editor for the Yamhill Advocate. So people are constantly being told that there's neo-Nazis running around in Newberg. And I gotta be honest, I have seen pretty much zero evidence of there being any neo-Nazis actually living, let alone organized, out of Newberg, Oregon. But that doesn't stop all these people who are in Progressive Yamhill from constantly accusing that and claiming that to justify all of their nonsense, okay, all their Antifa bullshit. So here's an account called I Have a Name. I'm not 100% sure just who this is. I have my suspicions about who this is, but they're constantly tagging me in all kinds of stuff here, okay? Accusing me of a bunch of BS, all sorts of stuff. Apparently this person lives in Newberg, because they claim that they used to have a business here, and now it's out of business, and now it's everybody else's fault except for their own. Whatever. The reason why I'm bringing them up is because this person often reshares a bunch of Antifa things. Usually the type of Antifa stuff that the Progressive Yamhill people are discussing internally within their little secret Facebook group that they think I don't know about still existing, but that's a whole nother matter. Anyway, here's an Antifa account here who has reshared a couple of people that they claim are part of the Rose City Nationalist Club. Now, what is the Rose City Nationalist Club? Rose City Nationalist Club, as far as I have been able to verify, okay, with like actually verifiable information, which is, I'm just going to tell you, is not really what you can find on these little Antifa pages. Is a Twitter account that basically just sort of popped up a couple months ago. It popped up basically, I guess I can show you. Rose City Nationalists. Take a little bit of a detour here. Oh, come on. Rose City Nationalists. Let's see here. Okay, Nationalist Club. As you can see, it was created in October 2022. And they're doing their best to show that they're a legit, I suppose you can call them a neo-Nazi group. They got a lot of that symbology. The important thing is that this basically didn't exist before October, okay? And what are they known for doing? They're known for putting on some masks and walking around, hanging a couple banners over some highways, and putting some stickers around town. And they talk a lot about Newberg for some inexplicable reason. And I say inexplicable because apparently none of them live in Newberg, according to Antifa themselves. Okay, they didn't find nobody in Newberg who was actually part of the group. It's not a very large group. They post a bunch of stuff. Okay. Now, I've been tagged in a number of posts related to them for some, again, inexplicable reason, because I have nothing to do with them. And certainly no fan of my newspaper would assume that I'm associated with them, since, I don't believe in races even existing, let alone being a racist person. Big believer of the common humanity approach to ethnic issues, I suppose you could put it. Judge people by their merits, not by superficial things like skin color, inherently gender, And there's some things you can draw from gender, but in general, you don't hire people based on their gender and things of that nature, right? Age, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, like judge people by their actual merits and skills. I'm a big believer in that, in support of that, and I say it many times in my articles if you actually bother to read them. It's one of my big criticisms of critical race theory, is that it tells people, no, you should judge people by all of a superficial nonsense. And I disagree with that. Anyway. So, there's a post here that they made, a retweet. Let's get back to that here. Oh, darn it. Let's get back to I Am a Name. There we go. Pardon me. Because this is basically their source. All of the Progressive Yamhill people, the little liberals in town, in Newberg especially, who claim that neo-Nazis running around in Newberg. Neo-Nazis are in Newberg, blah, blah, blah. This is their 100% sole source of information for the claim that there are neo-Nazis here. Now, I got to tell you, I tried to find any information about these people online. I couldn't really find any proof that these people exist, okay? So take all of this stuff as a grain of salt, because the sources of who these people are and what they're doing is coming from Antifa groups, who are not exactly known for their truthfulness, okay? And they're relatively recent articles, okay? And a bunch of different Antifa groups are part of it. Stumptown Research Collective. Again, a lot of these are propaganda sites that there's this motivation amongst Antifa groups to find Nazis around town, okay? Find proof of Nazis to justify their actions and rally their members. And you have to keep that in mind. So they have information. They claim that they started in summer 2022, as I just showed you the Twitter account. Doesn't really seem to be the case. Seems to be started like literally a couple months ago. Blah, blah, blah. Part of a bunch of stuff. They created themselves in opposition to the Rose City Antifa group, which, if it's a real group and it's not just another one of these false flag operations by Antifa, then, that just kind of, it shows that the existence of groups like Antifa inspires the creation of groups like, little neo-Nazi cells to come about, which is one of the problems with the Antifa stuff, okay? If you go run around attacking other people, accusing them of being something, somebody else is going to seize upon that and use it as a way to form their own groups. So it's really important that you don't go around and falsely accuse things of existing which really don't exist, right? If you run around and say, there's neo-Nazi groups everywhere, then you can't be surprised when somebody creates an actual neo-Nazi group, which didn't previously exist. And the people in Newberg, who are part of the little Antifa groups, as I've shown in my articles, they've been saying there's neo-Nazis in Newberg for like 3 freaking years. And then now all of a sudden here in October, there's a group that's somehow formed. It's a little bit suspicious. Anyway, they've got basically photos they've taken from their Twitter accounts and social medias. That's basically the evidence that they exist. They've got their Twitter messages here, blah, 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 blah. They got all this information. And all these other write-ups, all these links, this all really goes to other Antifa websites, right? It's all basically Antifa sites. And here it's not actually specifically about these people. It's just about some other freaking group. So most information is other stuff. So here's a photo, the flagpole that they claim was taken on May 16th, 2022. It's a sticker, guys, right? They have been spreading their message with White Lives Matter stickers. Ooh, it's like, it's childish nonsense like this. Like, why even give this attention? And then they had a, quote, banner drop, which makes it sound a lot more exciting than it actually is. They hung a crappy vinyl banner over the side of a bridge, which I doubt most people could even read. But apparently this is big news to write huge articles about. Then they went and they walked around in the woods, okay? And they went on tunnels and stuff, and they burned some signs. And, they walk around in the woods again. And it's just like, it's stupid stuff. They put in their banner over another highway that most people probably couldn't even read. And it's interesting how they censor out what they said so that you can't see what they had said. This is not great journalism. Like, you have to take at face value that this photo here is not only not staged by a bunch of Antifa people hiding their identities, but you have to also assume that what they're telling you about the sign saying what it said is what the Antifa page here says. And they don't have any real evidence. Let's see. It says, Newberg rejects white supremacy, held a rally to celebrate a recent court ruling. Struck down local school board's ban on BLM. That must have been Judge Easterday's ruling. And then they decided to time it with a White Lives Matter schedule on October 15th. National White Lives Matter schedule. I don't even know what the hell that is. Okay, and you just have to take them at face value that there is such a thing as a National White Lives Matter on October 15th. Because they're not citing anything, they're just telling you that must be the case. And then it says, Newberg show of solidarity against hate on October 15th work. What are they even talking about? The night before the rally, WCN snuck around town and slapped a few stickers ahead of planned sodomite groomer rally, as they put it. Again, like, where is this coming from? Where is that information coming from? They're not citing anything. They're not showing evidence for the claim that this group said this quote, or even that they put Snickers around town, as if it matters. As people put some stupid stickers around town. So what? And then they went hiking that day instead, which apparently must have come from their website or their Twitter, because they sure as shit don't cite where it came from. And then here we have another Twitter account feed again, showing that they went over to Old Nick's pub, which was very controversial because they were intentionally letting kids do drag queen shows there. Or I guess still are, over in Eugene, I believe. Yeah, it's Eugene, with a bunch of Proud Boy people and yada, yada, yada. So it's like, then they have another bridge thing, okay? And then, of course, they tie this to the security cam footage in Newberg on October 31st of somebody lighting a pride flag on fire at a local, someone who's aligned with Progressive Yamhill and is also a teacher. And then they intentionally threw a Nazi salute sign. Just happened to be that they knew exactly where that home security camera ring was, you know. And then they said it's not clear if it was a Rose City Nationalist member, but it is clear that local white nationalists are feeling emboldened by having neo-Nazi waving flags in Newberg. How is that clear? We don't even know who the hell this person is, what their motivation was. Arson did another banner flag wave on the Winooski Street overpass in Newberg in November. And then their banner read, "No political solution." And we just have to assume that they are telling the truth because there's no photo of their banner. It says, unsurprisingly, law enforcement did nothing to stop them. At least one local stopped shaking hands with them, at least according to RCN tweets. According to their tweets. So we've got one unreliable source who is motivated to share propaganda and make it appear they have more support than they actually do, who is being believed by another unreliable source, the Antifa page here, who also is motivated to believe what they say because they're trying to justify their evil, violent activities. And they claim that the founder is this guy, Casey Knutson, who apparently lives over in Gaston. Not Newberg, Gaston. Okay? But they have a bunch of information of him. Some personal information I just skimmed past really quickly there. Because, they basically doxed him. They put his home address. They put his car information out there, which is all illegal, by the way. And then they put out some radio, some sort of interview on a radio program where he used the name Alfred. Apparently it must be him. It's just not really good detective work, to be honest. And they got a bunch of stuff. This looks like it came out of a Discord server. Private calls that were previously leaked by Unicorn Riot. Oh boy, Unicorn Riot. Ooh. Unicorn Riot. What is that about? Obviously, it's Antifa nonsense. So, Patriot Front meetings spell out racist networks and plans for hateful operations. 22 audio files obtained by them reveal the inner workings and deeply shared mindset, blah, blah, blah. Gigabytes of leaked data from inside Patriot Front, 7 months of Rocket Chat groups. I guess it's Rocket Chat instead of Discord. They obtained and released these recordings, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really explain where they came from. Just says all these recordings. Okay. But what's the server? How do you have proof of the server? No, they don't seem to have proof of the server. They just have proof of the people. Because that's really what they're interested in. So that's the mumble call. Okay. My recording is a weekly meeting. Yada yada. But how do we know that it came from the actual meeting? See, here's the thing. When you look at my articles, I guess I'll just give you a little comparison here. All right. Look at one of my articles as an example, okay? Let's see. What's a good example? Let's go to this one, okay? I'm talking about Jefferson Mildenberger, Casey Banks, and others participating in a rally about Antifa. So I got some video that I personally took, okay? Not something I found on the internet, something I actually took, where I show people there with the flags. So who is the witness? I am the witness. I'm the person that made the stuff to begin with, okay? And so I know where the information came from. And I let people know where the information came from. And then I have Facebook messages where I tell you where they came from. And you don't have to just take my word for where the information comes from, because I show you, like, this came from the same Yamhill County Twitter account, right? And then this came from Jefferson Mildenberger's Facebook page, which you could verify and see for yourself it exists there, right? And then I have here, this information came from the Yamhill County News and Discussion Group. Like, you can go and verify that these posts actually exist on your own. You don't have to just take my word for it, all right? And then I've got some other articles I cite here that have more information along those lines. If I go over here and I say, let's see. If I go in here and I go to a post about, this one was about recently unelected Stephanie Finley, who's Newberg City Councilor, right? And I made the accusation that she's an anti-police activist. Well, you can see that this information comes from posts that were in the Progressive Yamhill group. And the reason that you know that, because it says it, okay? So, here's a post by Megan Corvos. Here's posts, by Elizabeth Rogers Gemery. There's a lot of posts. I show the entire thread, by the way. So, I tell people exactly where it came from. I tell them it came from the Progressive Yamhill Facebook group. So it's not just a collection of weird stuff that's been assembled and doesn't tell you where it came from. I tell you where it actually comes from. I show a lot of information. I don't show anonymous accounts that they're claiming are tied together. This one even clearly says it's from the Newberg Equity and Education group here, right? So this one, again, is a post that somebody's making into an actual Facebook group that you could verify yourself. When I show the videos, this is really important with the videos, right? You can actually see that the page where I've recorded the video from. In this case, it's coming from the Shannon Valley Dance Academy's video page here. So you can see for yourself where that stuff's coming from. And that's the thing that they don't really do very well, which I'm trying to explain to people, right? I go to another one of these articles here. Let's go about this guy over in Carlton, right? And it's basically a copy of what they did for the previous guy, for the most part. There's some things that are a little bit different, but it's mostly the same stuff, okay? It's mostly the same things. Let's go look at Uptown Research again. A lot of the same information, okay? We got photos of him, we got some info there, and then it's a lot of the same photos. A lot of the same photos. And they said, oh, his ring must match, so therefore it has to be the real person because we matched it between his Facebook page. Okay. But we have to take your word for it because we don't know where all these things come from. And how do we know that car belongs to him? Well, it must belong to him because the car was there. There's a license plate there. And then they got, let's see, the Antifa people were able to pick up his Wi-Fi account from outside of his apartment. There's no guessing to which because it says WPWW1488. Stands for White Pride Worldwide, and 1488 is a number commonly used by Nazis. 14 references the 14 words of David Eden Lane. What? That is a gibberish line that could have been automatically created by a Wi-Fi network in and of itself. But they've found special secret meanings in it. That's kind of outlandish. In any case, it says it's part of a plumber union, okay, whatever. There's no real way to know if any of this is true. Because they don't really provide any evidence that person is even a member of the group. Let's look at this other one here for this guy in Salem. A lot of the same accusations. Okay, and it says here's photos of people, personal information, activism. Excuse me. It says he joined on a certain date, but there's no proof of him joining that date. Here's some more photos of people in ski masks because that's really easy to identify. And And then they got a fake Twitter account, which doesn't have any photos of him on it. But apparently must belong to him. And they go hiking in the woods where nobody can see them. And this is basically Antifa's evidence. Keep in mind, this is the sole evidence that there's neo-Nazi groups in Newberg. Is apparently a Twitter account with people in ski masks who are running around very infrequently. Like, apparently, according to this account, they've been there like 3 times. And 2 of those occasions, all we did was put stickers around a telephone pole or light pole. And then there's some Twitter account of them going to LARPing, like European LARPing event or some shit. This is basically the evidence, okay? And I'm sorry if I'm not 100% convinced by this. It's very weak. It's certainly not a downloadable spreadsheet of 2,000 people with their actual real Facebook accounts who were organized in the Progressive Yamhill group and its subgroup Newberg Equity and Education, and 4 years worth of posting history of them organizing conspiracies against other residents and showing that they have enormous power through a number of groups. All we have here is a couple dudes who, far as I can tell, grown men who put fucking stickers on poles, run around in ski masks like 3 times with a flag, and run around in the woods. And that's about it. So, pardon me if I'm not a big believer. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video.